Ducati Kolkata invited us to test out the all-new for 2017 Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled. Instead of taking the usual route, we decided to hit the local biker cafe for the pre-ride meetup. You may be well aware of the Ducati scrambler. It has been around for more than a couple of years and has become Ducati's highest-selling motorcycle. It has also spawned quite a few variants. However, it would be completely wrong to assume that the Desert Sled is just another accessorized variant in the long lineup of the Scrambler family. This motorcycle has been built from the ground up. The only element that it shares with the Scrambler is the 803cc twin-cylinder air-cooled engine and the fuel tank. Everything else is completely new. Ducati could have named it differently, but they chose to capitalize on the popularity of the Scrambler name, is what I feel. The first thing you will notice in the long list of changes is the height. The motorcycle has a massive 240mm ground clearance, which makes it a serious contender as an ADV bike. If you are still unlucky enough to hit something on the bottom, the aluminum bash plate will save the day. The front and rear suspension are also ready for the off-road challenge. It gets massive Kayaba 46mm upside down forks which are fully adjustable, along with a non-linkage monoshock at the back that is rebound and preload adjustable. The frame has been beefed up and wrapped around till the bottom of the engine, and the all-new swing arm is stiffer, beefier and longer, and it is also angled downwards to create more ground clearance and also to keep the rear wheel from hitting the mud flap. It also gets an all-new aluminum 19-inch spoke wheel up front with a 17-inch wheel at the back. And Pirelli developed a special type of tire for this particular bike, the Scorpion Rally STR. Everything from the handlebars, the front mudguard, the headlight grille, the slash-cut exhaust is new. And it's a really pleasing motorcycle to look at. But it was time to stop staring at the motorcycle and hit the tarmac.
This thing is pretty tall. I've read about it. It's pretty tall. Whoa! Off we go. It's supposed to be a very capable off-roader. Ducati has done things to it. It's not like the normal Scrambler. It's been done quite differently, and not much rider aids on this bike. The main thing is it has got only ABS, no traction control, no slipper clutch. Acceleration, standing up, whoa, it feels much stronger while you're standing up, obviously because it's pulling you backwards. We've got lots of whoa. This one's really a capable off-roader. Those were some huge bumps that we were riding through, and this managed pretty well.
And Pirelli developed a special type of tire for this particular bike, the Scorpion Rally STR,
which are supposed to be on and off-road tires, which means they're supposed to do pretty well on-road, and then when you take them off-road, they'll perform there as well. Oh yeah, taking the bumpers on this bike is a dream. It feels like as if you're kind of enjoying that. Bumpers, bumps, bad road conditions, nothing's gonna stop this bike. But on road, it doesn't really feel all that bad. Like a lot of off-roaders are capable off-roaders, but on road there's a compromise. Also, if you wanna talk about the looks, this is really easy on the eyes. It doesn't look like a gnarly off-roader bike. It looks pretty stylish, and that's basically because of the Ducati styling system has gone behind it. It's got that iconic scrambler stank, but apart from that, everything has been changed. The handlebars are new, the riding position is new, the frame has been done some modifications. They've made smaller modifications to the engine as well to meet the new Euro 4 norms. They've done something to the throttle cable, which I'm not exactly sure what they've done, but it feels very smooth. Like the Ducatis have a sort of power delivery, which is not there on this bike. It's kind of more smooth compared to the other bikes. Despite the really tall suspension, the bike is kind of firm on the front, which makes you push harder in the corners with confidence. Whoa, the cow let me test the brakes. The braking is really good. It was a single disc up front, so I was kind of worried that it might not have the enough stopping power, but when I kind of started riding it, the problem really went away. Slight buzz in the mirrors, nothing too bad. The power delivery on this bike is very beginner friendly. It's a tall bike, so I wouldn't recommend it to beginners, especially shorter beginners, but the riding position is super comfortable because now being higher, the foot pegs are way lower, so your legs are in a very comfortable position. Honestly, who doesn't like to tour on such a bike? It's got the perfect adventure riding position. It looks good. It doesn't look all that gnarly sort of adventure look. So I see this bike as a very, very capable tourer. I think I know one guy who would love this bike, and I can tell that anybody who doesn't have problems with the height, because that's the only thing that I find will be a little bit problematic towards the Indian riders. Everything else on this motorcycle is great. And now I do know that there are seat shaver options that is present for almost any bike, and if you do that, we can kind of get it to a Ducati Multistrada level, and this being slimmer might feel just a little bit better than that at an 850 or 840 mm seat height. But the seat is very comfortable, and the handlebars, when you're doing sitting, it's higher up. It's kind of like a supermoto, but when you're standing up, oh yeah, the bike feels so natural. It just feels so natural to stand up on this bike.
Of course, all this goodness comes at a price. The seat height is a massive 860 millimeters, making it higher than even the Ducati Multistrada 1200S. Before you shorter riders give up hope, I would like to mention that Ducati does offer a low seat accessory which brings down the saddle height to a more manageable 840 millimeters.
I don't know whether you can shift standing up or not. I believe we can. Wind blasted be damned, I'm standing on this bike. Okay, the gear shifts are actually pretty good.
This being an air-cooled engine, there is always that worry of the bike overheating. On speeds over 30 kilometers and above, I never felt anything on the bike. But on the traffic lights, keeping the engine on was really harsh on the inner thighs.
Nifty little console has a clock. It's the odometer, 61 kilometers on this bike. Pretty new. Out in the town, you know, bikes feels really comfortable to sit on. It feels more like I'm in love with this bike. It's such a capable off-roader, but then it's grabbing all the eyeballs in this white color. There's also a red version. It comes in two colorways. I think the white looks better, but who would argue with the red Ducati. We all know those look great as well. What is a desert sled? It's a tradition started in California, and it's Ducati's homage to that. People used to take the bikes, strip them off, and make them off-road worthy, and take it into the California desert. It has a headlight grille because back in the day that was one of the style statements that those bikes had, to protect the headlight, I believe. The Ducati launched this bike in a desert in Spain, so that's what they did. That bike went airborne. This is really fun. Specifically those high bumps. Normal road bumps on this bike, you won't even feel them because the suspension is like 10 on 10. It's 46 mm upside down cab or Fox, and the rear is a big monoshock as well. The bike really has a lot of suspension travel, and the best thing about that is that despite the long suspension travel, the bike doesn't get destabilized while it's moving. Standing up to get a different view. I've ridden on this road so many times, but I've never gotten this view. You can practically see everything inside Eco Park in this. I'm wavering off lanes. Should be careful about that. Should stay in my lane, I should be fine. It's a capable bike on road. I just, when it was doing that sort of stuff on the bumps, on the bad potholes, I never expected it to perform so well while cornering, but it did. And then when I take it out for a relaxed ride in the city, it just feels more comfortable than any other bike I've ridden, especially because there's so much leg room on this bike, and I have taller legs compared to my height, which is about 5 feet 8. So I'm 5 feet 8 in boots. I'd be about 5 feet 9 and a half, and I'm tiptoeing this bike, but it doesn't really feel all that heavy unless you're doing those slow U-turns, where it kind of feels a little bit on the heavier side because you're doing those U-turns. Otherwise, this bike, no problems at all. No problems. See, again, there's a corner. This bike just leans into those corners. It's not a knee sliding bike. This is not a knee sliding bike, but make no mistake about it, this bike can lean into corners enough for when you're touring outside on the highway and you get one of those beautiful loops. You don't have to slow down for it. You can do an 80 kilometers, 85 kilometers on the corner. And the main thing is, as you get used to the bike, you will be able to get very good lean angles because the front end has a lot of feedback, which is not something that I found on adventure bikes. They're like really spongy up front, moves up and down with a lot of suspension travel. The preload and the rebound on this bike, the front suspension, is fully adjustable. It's manually adjustable. It's not an electronically adjustable suspension system, but whatever setting it's on right now, it's perfect for me because the rebound especially is damped enough for when it goes into a big pothole, it's jumping up and down, but when it goes into a really small sort of thing, it's not making that much of a problem. Like when it's on a smaller bump, the bike's just gliding through. When the bike is hitting a bigger bump, the suspension is moving up and down to make it more comfortable for you. The best suspension system that I've ever ridden on a bike, and it's not that I've ridden many adventure bikes, but this one, trust me, if you can manage the height and if you want a tourer, just buy it. Just buy it because you will love this car. You will love this bike. It's on a pricier side. It's around 11 lakhs, I believe. 11.34 lakhs. I believe that's the on-road price. It's really on the pricier side, considering the fact that you can get many other bikes in that range. But I don't think anything else is a scrambler. I mean, this is the original Scrambler was a 790 seat height. Almost everybody could handle it. A lot of women riders preferred it because of the shorter seat height. But this is the Scrambler that Ducati should have built in the first place, because when the original Scrambler came out, it kind of had that, it wasn't a serious bike. It was a fun bike, and it was Ducati's highest selling motorcycle in just the 3 years it has been around. But it wasn't really a motorcycle that serious enthusiasts prefer. But with this one, I guess they've taken it away a little bit from the casual rider, but on the other hand, they've gained the respect of serious riders, enthusiasts. The power is about 75 bhp, and at around, I believe it's around 8,500 rpm, which honestly feels pretty damn good. I mean, for a bike, when you open it up on the highway, there's enough grunt on it. Off-roading, the bike's throttle response, specifically in the first few degrees, is very gentle. But then when you crank it open, it really opens up. So on one hand, you can ride it on the bad patches of road or off-road with a lot of confidence. But when you go up there on opening up the throttle, then you don't really feel that bad. So great job done by Ducati. I'm loving every moment of it. And now we're going over some really bad patches, and I kind of feel that it's doing really well over those patches.
After riding this bike, we went back to the Throttle Shuttle Cafe to grab a bite, and I had come to the following conclusions. In a world where adventure bikes are becoming way too powerful and electronics oriented, the Desert Sled is a refreshing experience. It has just the right amount of power, coupled with a very beefy suspension system and a riding position that keeps you comfortable, even on those cross-country tours. Sure, it's not a lightweight dirt bike, but unlike dedicated off-road machines, the Desert Sled is also a formidable option on the highways. And when you factor in our bad road conditions, this appears like the perfect tourer for India. The only thing that might keep people away from buying this motorcycle are the tall seat height and the steeper price tag of 11.3 lakhs on-road Kolkata. And well, of course, it's air-cooled, so in urban settings, it may cause a little bit heating on your inner thighs, especially when you're stopping at traffic lights. But you know whom to call in case you want a test drive of this or any other Ducati motorcycle, right? Take a test drive and maybe it will change your mind. I was completely blown away by this motorcycle, especially the character it has and how pleasing it is to look. And I think you will have the same experience. If you want to see more photos of the Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled, head over to my Instagram account. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon. This is Rahul. Goodbye.